Hey, welcome back everyone. It's Andrew at Microphonic Designs here today at Permian High School. Yes, we're in the Satin Strings Orchestra room right now, but we just finished up a 10-ish, almost 11-hour day getting their for ensemble audio stuff set up. Y'all know what we're here to do. So let's take a quick look at what we're working with today, which is 4 marimbas, 4 vibes in a very friendly standard configuration. We've got marimbas 1, 2, 3, and 4 in the front row. These are all brand new Yamaha, I think 4.5 octaves. If they're fives. Goodness, yeah, large marimbas all the way across the front. We've also got 4 brand new Marimba 1 vibes in the back. Vibes 1, 2, 3, and then 4. We got the Xylo in the middle there, the Adams frame. And then we've got 2 synths over here on side 1 in the back row. They are 2 MIDI controllers going into 1 laptop. So we've got a dual player, single computer setup over there that we'll take a closer look at when we get to it. Up front, we have 2 sets of Yamaha speakers. Let me double check the model number on these. We've got, let's see, we've got the Yamaha DSR 115s up top and the DXS 18s on the bottom. So this is the same for the left and the right, side 1 and side 2. And these are on what I suspect are early frame designs from Core Design, because Core Design does not make speaker carts like this. This, to me, is basically a carbon copy of the Titan frames. I guess maybe not a carbon copy, but very close copy of the Titan field frames. The difference being this shelf in the back, and I'm almost certain that like all this extra windmill fun stuff was probably put on here by like parent volunteers or maybe the staff that was here a while ago. Because the percussion of the director of percussion here is new this year, so he brought me in because we worked together last year at his previous post, and he was like, "Hey, help me figure this stuff out." So that's what I'm here to do. I think we've done that today. But here's what we have going on. So again, this is side 1, and side 2, of course, is over there, and we actually decided, and this was a surprise to me, to use their 2 Generac backup batteries, or power stations rather, as the power supply for their speakers. So what I'm going to advise them to do is take off these ridiculous spool things, which may have worked. It may have been a good idea at some point, but this is no longer the best option for them. So we're going to see if we can pull these off and put the batteries up here and secure them with a ratchet strap, tie-down strap, Velcro. I'm not 100% sure, so that will be a project for my homie Jimmy to figure out. But again, it should be pretty easy to get going. So we've got these Generac. This is, what model is it? I'm not actually sure what model this is, but this is just a big battery that is powering their speakers. We've had the speakers turned on for a while. We plugged these in maybe 2 hours ago, and they were both at 73%, and we played some music for a good while, and now they're down 10%. And you'll see the output is pretty low there. I think that's because there we go, turned off the AC. And so you'll see when the speakers boot up, you'll see that output wattage increase. So when the speakers are idling, we're drawing around 70 watts, maybe up to 75 watts of power. And we've got close to 10 hours of runtime just idling. And when we played music, we were pulling maybe 115 watts, with still plenty of runtime. So these are going to work really well for their rehearsal situation. And we're going to do away with the spool situation, because, I mean, what we had was like red cable here. I'm almost certain that the red cable, I mean, it goes all the way out the door. It was easily a 100-foot cable, if not more. And I didn't want them to have to deal with cables that long, whether using these like spool things or buckets or not. So we're going to use the batteries to supply power. And I didn't really touch much of the cabling on the carts because, like, I'm not offended by it. Of course, I could clean it up a little bit, but like, it ain't broke. You know what I mean? Like, this is working fine. And then they have a little custom outlet box underneath the shelf there for the speakers to plug into. And so with the batteries, all we're going to do is just run a single XLR cable from the mixer cart, and they actually had some outputs here. So we're just going to run single XLR cables from these 2 outputs all the way out to the speakers. Here's the inside of the mixer cart. I got this really good and cleaned up. It doesn't look like it. I know there's still cables going everywhere, but trust me, I promise I got this all cleaned up and tidied up. Big 32 channel snake coming in. We're only using 14 of the 32 channels. And then we've got 8 channels of wireless coming up here on the left-hand bank, as you'll see there. And you'll see I've just got all the cables nice and as clean as I can get them. The wireless units themselves is pretty overkill. It's awesome. They have 2 of the Shure ULXD4Q quad receiver units. So they are set for wireless. I mean, this is about as good as you could hope to get for high school band. Awesome stuff. And we've got those coming in here to the ULXD channels. And then they've got a TP-Link router that they'll have to get the password for. I wanted to use my Linksys today because we didn't have time to track down the password, but they do have their own Wi-Fi router, so that's good to go. And it looks like there is a setup on here for a Mac Mini as well. This is clearly a screen mount. We've got keyboard and a mouse pad, and it looks like a mount back here for a Mac Mini. I can only assume that that was used for coordinating wireless with Shure's Wireless Workbench software application. Now, I'm not going to go so far as to say that they need to do that. It could be something cool that they check out. But like, Jimmy is still settling in here. Like, he's learning names and meeting the families and the parents and everything. It's like he's got enough to do. So I'm not worried about, you know, being like, oh, you need to get Wireless Workbench. No, like these things do a network scan. I've got them linked together. It'll be fine. It'll really be okay. The 32 channel snake we have coming to the very middle of the front ensemble here. And I want to point out how I've done this. So we've got 32 inputs, and you'll see that the marimbas here plug into the front row because they're in the front row, and the back row plugs into the back row. So what this means is that at the mixer, it is not one-to-one. So like channel 1 right here, this connector, does not necessarily plug into channel 1 in the mixer. We call that cross-patching, and I'm a very big fan of doing that. So basically my process is I will put the snake where it needs to go. I'll figure out where the cables are going to plug in best in terms of ergonomics isn't the right word, but like I want to make sure that where the students have to plug in is mapped to where their instruments are. So for example, you know, marimba 1 high and low over there is the red. So naturally the red is to the left of all the other ones. Like this is the 4 marimbas represented all in a row in the front, and then the same goes in the back. The red and the white is synth left and right, and then I've got blue, yellow, green, and orange representing vibes 1, 2, 3, and 4. Blue, yellow, green, and orange. It's the same order on the snake. And so I color code both ends of the snake. So that's why, like on the connectors plugged into the back of the mixer, you'll see there's color codes here so that we don't have to reference the channel number in the snake. It's just the color code, right? So by doing colors, at first I have to be concerned with what number it is, but when we get the color codes in place, the actual number that this cable is assigned is irrelevant because it's just single red. And this is for marimba 1 high. It goes to the marimba 1 high plug. So that's how we have that situated. And the cabling is pretty standard. We've got the cables for the side 2 keyboards. They come in, they meet. You guys know I keep stuff nice and clean if you've seen any of my other setup videos. And they come straight down. And the cabling does the same thing for side 1, where the direction of the cables and the signal comes in towards the middle and meets at the snake. And then the back row is actually quite interesting. A good portion of the way into the setup today, I discovered that they have a 25-foot 8-channel sub-snake, a little bro sub-snake. And I'm using this this is really the first time I've used a sub-snake in this way, where I've mounted the box to the high end of Vibe 1. And you'll see down here, that I've got all 4 vibraphones plugged into it all the time. They do not have to unplug right here because this box is zip tied to this instrument. I mean, it's not going anywhere. And the only 2 cables that have to plug in are the synth, left and right. And so the other end of this snake I have set up like so. It is the red, white, blue, yellow, green, and orange. And it's that easy to plug in, just like that. And I've actually separated these out to hopefully make it a little bit easier for them to plug in. So I've separated the red, white, and blue. They're sort of a little bundle. And then a yellow, green, and orange, they're a bundle. And then the extra unused channels I've just tied back kind of like this to help save confusion and hassle. And so the cabling for all of the vibraphones goes all the way over this way. Now we've seen something like this on the xylophone before, where the xylophone does not have a microphone, but it does have cables that go across, and that's okay. You can do that. Just because an instrument does not have a mic or a sound source does not mean that you can't put cables on it. So again, I've just got all the cables adding on, coming in this direction. They meet at the end of the subsnake, and then the subsnake goes to the main snake right there. So that's the back row. I initially thought that I might have a bundle of cables go from the middle of these 2 vibes forward to the snake, and from the middle of these 2 vibes forward. But this worked out a lot better because we didn't really have enough cables of the appropriate length to go forward. And with this configuration, the only cable that's crossing from the back row to the front is that 8-channel subsnake. Now, on the synthesizer side of things, we have a Nectar Impact LX61 Plus, and we have a Keystation 61 Mark III by M Audio. So we've got 2 61 key controllers plugged into main stage there on the computer. And we've just got your standard little dongle dock there for the USBs. We've got a CyberPower 1500 on the bottom there to power everything up. And then we've got a Scarlett 18i20 and a little rack unit down here in the bottom. So, even though this audio interface has 10 outputs, and we could very easily do a pair of outputs for synth 1 and a pair of outputs for synth 2. I wanted to keep things nice and simple, so we're only using the main left and right output from main stage going to the big system. So that's going to be the summed mixed signal for all the sounds coming from synth 1 and synth 2. And that is just going to help keep things a little bit more streamlined and simple up there in the mixer, which I think is a good thing. And so all of the mixing and balancing and blending that they're going to have to do for electronics is going to have to happen here in main stage. And so they'll just have to get used to the workflow of like, oh, if that, you know, string sound is too loud, they'll have to find it here in main stage, violins 1, and then turn down that particular slider and then save it. So again, a little bit more work, but I think that's how it should really be done anyway. Like the main stage stuff is best balanced inside main stage, and then you keep the sliders and the soundboard as close to 0 as you can to make sure your gain staging is good. So anyhow, that's a pretty good look at the setup here at Permian High School. Out west in Odessa, Texas. I had about a 6-hour drive yesterday, but again, that's cake compared to the Laredo trip and the PSJA trip, hours less time on the road. And with that said, you know, don't forget to get in touch if you yourself would like some assistance with your Front Ensemble's audio setup and your soloist audio setup and everything. You know, no matter whether or not you've been at your school for a decade or you're brand new to a program and you're just getting settled in, it always comes down to time. I'm here to help save you time so that you've got you know, the freedom to actually focus on the things that matter and that are important here, which is, you know, like I said, in this case, getting to know the students, getting to know the parent volunteers you're going to be working with, getting to know the rest of the staff that you're going to be on a team with, among many other things. I would much rather someone in those shoes be able to focus on that instead of this. So we put in a solid day of work today. I'm feeling really good about it, and now everything is set. The last thing that I'll highlight about this setup, which I almost forgot to mention, that you may have noticed, is that there are no microphones underneath the keyboards. And before I do the complete outro, I just wanted to note that there are no microphones because all of the mounts that we kind of walked into today at this school, ignore the empty coffee can, it did not spill. A lot of these mounts are broken, or they don't fit the new frames that they have. So I've already put together a quote for all of the mounting solution stuff that they're going to need. So I'm going to send that over to Jimmy. He's going to give that to the director of bands. We're going to make that happen. All really standard stuff in my book because we have the Yamaha square frames and then the marimba ones, which they look a little bigger to me, but we'll see. We'll see how that plays out. So anyhow, if you need help mounting your microphones, don't forget to get in touch. You can reach me at microphonicdesigns.com/contact. I've got the form you can fill out, or if you're a fan of a phone call, you can book a call with me. I'm happy to help. Don't feel like you have to go at this stuff alone. Your job is already stressful enough. So I'm here, I've got your back as best as I can, and would love to help you out if you need it. So anyway, till next time, y'all, take care. I'll see you then. Peace. Okay, yeah, so getting this trio mic in here, I've got EQ done. I was going to bring up reverb because this EQ, do you know what side of the field this trio is gonna be on? Have you guys gotten the drill yet for that? Because that's an important detail. One thing that I really advise people do is to make sure that we pan the microphone sound.
It's on side 2.
It's on side 2. So we'll just, you can highlight the little thing in the middle there, like at the bottom, that's the pan. And then you can use this knob, and we're gonna weight this over to side 2. I'm not doing it all the way over there. Like I've got, like this board goes up to 63 on each side. I don't know why. But that's like, the number 63 is like the maximum on the pan. Mm-hmm. So we'll just do like 40. It'll be mostly over to side 2 to the right, but that should do. So that way when they play, the sound will mostly come out of those speakers, and that will, like, you know, hopefully the staging is done well, but like it will draw the ear and the eye over that way so the judges know where to look. Okay. Same with the audience, of course. So let's make sure we save that. And then also with reverb. So I got the reverb set up, so it should sound good most of the time for most situations. If you need to add or reduce reverb on a specific soloist channel, you hit this button here. It's the one that says FX1, because FX1 is where the reverb is, and then there's also an FX2, but the number 1 is where our reverb is. Okay. We hit this, and everything lights up. It switches modes. So this is basically showing us how much sound level from each individual microphone channel is going to go to the reverb. Mm-hmm. That basically determines how much reverb is on each instrument, but it's the other way around. It's how much signal is going to the reverb. Mm-hmm. So more signal means it's going to sound more reverberated. Mm-hmm. Less is just less, right? So for soloists, I normally start them out at about -15, -16 or so, like kind of in between the 10 and the 20. That's a good starting point. Like that's enough where like you'll hear it, mm-hmm. and it might be too much, it might not be quite enough just yet, but this is a good starting point. So again, if you need a little bit more reverb on that trio, how do you do it? You hit this button, you push their slider up a little bit, and then press this button again to exit that mode. And then what's the last step? Save. You've got to save those changes. Because if you don't save those changes and you go to a different scene and then you come back, those changes are gone. Okay. So just if you make reverb adjustments like I'm about to do, I'm going to turn this back down to where I normally put it. That's important that you save. And you'll see up here where it says scenes, there's a little E. There's an icon that says it has the letter E for edit, I presume. That lets you know that, hey, you've made a change to this scene. Don't forget to save. That's basically what that means. Or don't save if you didn't mean to change anything. And we'll just do this. Alternatively, I could also hit the A button. It'll ask if I want to save the scene. Okay. So you've got a couple of options there. But yeah, that's the reverb thing. And like I said, with 2 soloists, your 8 channels will be plenty. Just make sure you assign them their color and that they don't forget what color they have. Another thing I'll point out on the board here is that you have inputs 1, input 2, and then an output fader bank. I like to set up what's called the custom fader bank. And this is only going to show us the stuff that we want to see. And we need to add that trio channel. So let's get that added real quick. Trio. Okay, so now you'll see over here it says trio. So when we're in the custom fader bank, we're only seeing the stuff that we need to see and nothing more, which is great for band when we have a student sitting here. We've got the front ensemble on the left. So again, marimbas 1 through 4, high and low, just as you see it. So like as you're looking at the soundboard, it matches up with the mics along the way. So don't forget that even though the arrangement might have the middle marimbas is like marimbas 1, 2, 3, and then 4, for audio, it's just left to right, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Yeah. Same goes for vibes in the back row. Again, it's in the same order. We have synth left and right. These are a stereo pair, so they're linked together. And then these two here, DCA for marimbas says DCA 1 and DCA 2. These are group volume controls. So if these sliders are all the way down as they are now, you will not hear marimbas or vibes. So we push these up to 0. They can stay at 0. That's how you get sound for these first 12 channels. Okay. Very important, very helpful to have. If one of these subsections is like overplaying at a show, you can turn the entire subsection down for that performance if you need, which is helpful. And it's always during the video walkthrough when I'm talking about DCAs, I remember I need to go in and do recall safe for these. And recall safe basically means that if the selected channel is lit up, it's safe, it will not be affected by scenes. It is saved from being, it's safe from being affected by scenes. So I normally will do DCAs as recall safe and the main output. Because if you turn, like if the whole system is too loud and you turn this down for a show, but then when you do a scene, it keeps popping it back up, that's bad. Yeah. You know, so for outputs, usually I'll do recall safe. And then for all of these individual channels, we do want those to be affected by scenes. So we do not recall safe those. Okay. So that's all set up and good to go. The snake itself, the blue, it needs to be looped up here at the soundboard. Okay. So when you do the big loops to store it, do it here where it's connected, and pull the big box in towards the cart, not the other way around. Don't do the loops at the box. That'll really mess it up. And the same thing goes for that snake we had on the back row back there. So just some important stuff to remember. Any other questions that are coming to mind? Cool.